I see through your motives. You marry for money. Spare me your absurdities. Isn't it glaringly obvious? Someone like you, a struggling single mother. That's why, even after your husband's demise, you linger on. You're truly a daily eyesore. Mia, at 35, endures Emma's snide remarks. Orphaned at a young age, raised by her single mother, Mia's upbringing wasn't lavish. Her mother's unwavering dedication kept them afloat, though not affluent. Despite the financial strain, Mia never felt deprived. She intended to work after high school, reluctant to burden her hardworking mother with college expenses. However, her mother, determined to see Mia pursue her dreams, insisted on funding her education. Overwhelmed by her mother's sacrifice, Mia took on part-time work to contribute. Eventually, she graduated debt-free and secured a job at a prestigious trading company. Driven by her desire to ease her mother's burdens, Mia excelled, climbing the corporate ladder swiftly. Within 5 years, she attained the position of administrative assistant, enabling her to pamper her mother and fulfill her dreams. 2 years later, Mia's dedication was rewarded with a promotion to executive assistant, where she met and fell in love with Ethan, the president's son. Congratulations, Mia. May you find happiness. Thank you for everything. Mia's heartfelt gratitude brought tears to her mother's eyes, radiating joy. However, their bliss was fleeting. Just 2 years into marriage, tragedy struck as Ethan suddenly passed away. Shocked and speechless, Mia struggled to comprehend the abrupt loss. The grief mirrored by Benjamin, the bereaved father, compounded her pain. Amidst their mourning, one person remained unaffected: Emma. Living together post-marriage, Mia couldn't ignore Emma's indifference. Emma, unrelated to Ethan by blood, had entered Benjamin's life when Ethan was just a child, seeking companionship after his wife's death. No need to worry, Mia. Everything Ethan owned is mine anyway. Lighten up, it was just a jest. A little levity in these somber times could do us all good. But alas, your hopes of inheriting our wealth have vanished. Never did I expect such audacity from you. Marrying a man like Ethan solely for love? Unbelievable. Cease your baseless accusations. Ethan was irreplaceable to me. Emma assumed Mia would depart upon Ethan's demise. Yet Maya remained, witnessing Benjamin's stoic facade crumble beneath the weight of his grief. She couldn't bear to abandon him to Emma's callousness. Their home, brimming with memories of Ethan, became her sanctuary. Mia's bond with Ethan was profound, his absence a palpable ache. Ethan once confided in Mia, describing Emma as more of a roommate than a mother. Emma's facade shattered in Ethan's absence, revealing her true nature. Mia chose to stay, honoring Ethan's memory and supporting Benjamin through his anguish. Despite Emma's disdain, Maya remained steadfast, unwilling to relinquish the home she shared with Ethan, where their love lingered in every corner. "I'm counting on you to look after Ethan," Ethan's father would say. "Of course, Ethan is dear to me too. Knowing you're here for him allows me to focus on my work," Emma would reply with a smile. "Don't worry about a thing. Give your best at work," Ethan's father reassured her. "Thank you. Have a good day." But as soon as the door closed behind him, Emma's smile faded. "Ah, finally, he's gone. Now where should I go today? Perhaps I'll invite a friend to the movies," she mused. "You're heading out again?" Mia would inquire. "Yes, any objections?" Emma retorted, "Oh no, just remember not to bother your father unnecessarily. He's working hard for you. If you raise concerns, he'll worry and won't be able to concentrate. Just quietly study at home," Maya reminded her. That was our daily routine, yet it didn't seem to trouble Ethan much once he got accustomed to it. In fact, he found solace in not being overly scrutinized. As a child, he viewed Emma as a chameleon. "I don't really mind. I see her as Dad's wife, not my mom," Benjamin expressed. He was grateful to Emma for stepping in when he was young, allowing his father to focus on work. Benjamin inherited the company from his step-grandfather and demonstrated a natural talent for running it. As soon as he assumed control, the company flourished. Managing 5 businesses with annual revenues in the high hundreds of millions kept Benjamin relentlessly busy. My husband recounted how Benjamin barely had time to relax at home when he was a child. Witnessing his father's exhaustion, my husband refrained from burdening him with trivial matters like Emma's behavior. He felt adequately cared for and kept his concerns about Emma to himself. He was easygoing, never the typical heir to a vast empire. Were you ever upset about it? Nah, not really. As long as she was home, Dad was at ease, able to focus on work. We never went hungry, and there were always snacks. I see, my husband chuckled. I admired that about him. They weren't unkind to me. They just weren't overly doting. Emma would throw sarcastic remarks my way occasionally, but I brushed them off as typical in-law banter. Besides, she kept busy with theater outings, shopping, and dining with friends. Since I was occupied with work, our paths seldom crossed, and her remarks didn't bother me much. If my husband didn't find Emma's spending problematic, I saw no reason to raise the issue. Yet Emma's lavish expenditures, contrasting with my frugal upbringing, unsettled me. It seemed wasteful. But without Benjamin or my husband expressing concern, I kept my thoughts to myself. However, after my husband's passing, Emma's carefree shopping and lack of grief for Ethan intensified my discomfort. Emma, please support Benjamin. Despite his facade, he's truly lonely, I urged. Why should I heed your words? Are you plotting to snatch our inheritance? Emma retorted. I've never entertained such thoughts. Well, Ethan's gone. Why don't you leave too? I'm staying. Benjamin said I'm welcome as long as I need. Emma shot me an annoyed glance but said no more. Perhaps relieved I wasn't a threat to Benjamin's wealth. Yet, as years passed, Emma's irritation with my presence grew evident. Her barbed remarks stung deeper. I questioned if it was right to remain where my husband was absent. Maybe returning to my single mother was best. Enduring Emma's sarcasm felt unbearable. My mother turned 60 this year, marking 3 years since my husband's passing. Contemplating my future, Benjamin's collapse changed everything. Although the company remained stable due to his prepared successors, Emma's demeanor shifted noticeably. That man got what he deserved. He's been miserly lately. What do you mean by stingy? Emma inquired. Our credit card limit got reduced, and our living expenses have been trimmed. Is the company facing difficulties? I responded. I doubt it. Remember last year you missed our husband's 3rd anniversary ceremony because of a hangover from a wild night out. Benjamin, who rarely checked on your spending, caught wind of it through the credit card bill. Missing our son's memorial was a breaking point for him, I explained. In his anger, Benjamin decided to restrict your spending. Despite that, you still receive enough for a comfortable life. Benjamin mentioned the company's troubles, attributing them to your absence. Don't act clueless. You're aware too. All because we lost our son. How does that justify jeopardizing the company? I added. No, I genuinely didn't know. But he claims, despite his condition, he's going to rest at home and live a long life. He's been telling everyone that the doctors said he could live to 100, I shared. That's reassuring, Emma commented. It's not. If he lives that long needing care, it won't be a laughing matter, I retorted. Emma's flared nostrils hinted at an impending outburst against Benjamin. Her derogatory remarks about him left a bitter taste. Who did she think had been funding her extravagant lifestyle? Even if Benjamin's company faced troubles, she could at least offer support, I thought. Then Emma dropped an unexpected bombshell. So I've decided to divorce him. Excuse me? Consider it. The company might be facing trouble. What if we end up in debt? It's prudent to settle the property and leave before we're penniless. Are you planning to abandon Benjamin when he needs assistance? I can't handle caring for a bedridden old man with no funds left. I intend to secure what I can before his will is depleted and bid farewell. Is that clear? Emma's calculated words, delivered with a hint of triumph, filled me with revulsion. However, just a week after our conversation, Benjamin's health took a drastic turn, leading to his swift demise. He's gone too, just 3 years after my husband. It felt like the world plunged into darkness. Benjamin's voice echoed that of my husband's. Sometimes conversing with him felt like speaking to my husband. Losing the ability to converse with him, to hear his voice, was unbearable. Oh dear, he's departed to the afterlife. What impeccable timing. There are still assets left, correct? His company hasn't collapsed yet. Perhaps he passed before accruing debt on my behalf. It serves as a reminder of how callous you sound, Emma, to be pleased despite Benjamin's recent passing. Oh, you've noticed. Unfortunately for you, there's no inheritance coming your way. I have preferred Benjamin's presence over any inheritance. Spare me the moral high ground. Now you're just putting on a show, trying to impress others, aren't you? Even if you asked, there wouldn't be a penny to spare. Despite Benjamin's demise, it seemed Emma's mind remained fixated on money. How could she be so devoid of compassion? Contemplating this, my sympathy for Benjamin deepened, further exacerbating my grief. In that case, you needn't bother attending the funeral. What? Are strangers prohibited from attending? I understand. That's the situation. Emma appeared detached from reality, but I saw no necessity in enlightening her. Are you certain? Absolutely. With him gone. As his spouse, I'm in charge. Crystal clear. Consequently, Benjamin's funeral took place quietly 2 days later, attended solely by close relatives, adhering to his preference for a modest service rather than a grand company affair. After the service, I noticed several missed calls from Emma on my phone, yet I chose not to respond. Despite her repeated attempts to reach out, I remained steadfast in ignoring her. Then, unexpectedly, she appeared at my workplace one day. I finally caught you. Why haven't you been returning my calls? Oh, Emma, how may I assist you? Still stirring up trouble? I was kicked out of the funeral home. If anyone should have been excluded, it's you. I called you numerous times on the day. What's the deal with ignoring me, huh? Well, you're no longer associated with my mother-in-law. What? But you said strangers weren't permitted at the funeral, so we had a family-only service. I simply asked Emma, now a stranger, not to attend. You're the stranger here. No, the real stranger is Emma. What? When Benjamin fell ill and faced the prospect of being bedridden, Emma served him divorce papers. She seemed to believe that because Benjamin was hospitalized, he had departed to heaven without finalizing the divorce. However, those papers, Benjamin had entrusted me to submit. So, in name and in reality, Emma is a stranger to us now. Benjamin confided a lot in me back then. Apparently, he informed Emma about the company's precarious situation and the looming possibility of debt. He suggested a more modest lifestyle for just the two of them. Emma's response was cold. Then it's probably best to split before you're overwhelmed by debt. A month after that conversation, Benjamin collapsed. Even upon regaining consciousness, he knew his health was dire. He confessed to Emma that he might have to relinquish control of the company and rely on her for care. As expected, Emma proposed a divorce. She likely sought to secure assets before his demise. However, Benjamin, realizing his limited time, had already allocated most of his assets to charities and appointed successors. There was little left for Emma. Her face paled upon learning this. So I get nothing. Well, strictly speaking, it's not exactly zero. I did leave a few $100s in savings, I admitted. A few $100s? That's hardly enough, Emma scoffed. Even though Benjamin had forewarned me of this, articulating it made me appreciate his thoroughness. He evidently wished to keep any property disputes with Emma to a minimum. Perhaps it was Emma's behavior following her husband's passing that motivated Benjamin's resolve. But there's still the house. If I sell that... Oh, yes. Please vacate the premises as soon as possible, I interjected. I'm staying with Mom for now, but I intend to return eventually, Emma asserted. What are you implying? You're essentially a stranger. You hold even less claim than I do. As I mentioned earlier, the true stranger here is you, Emma, now divorced. Furthermore, the house was originally inherited by Benjamin from his grandfather, exempt from property division in a divorce. So why should you have the right to reside there? Because upon marriage, Benjamin and I mutually adopted each other. What? So I'm entitled to inherit Benjamin's property. He left me that house, Emma exclaimed. It's rather incredulous, isn't it? The notion of adoption was initiated by Benjamin himself. When we married, I didn't dwell on it much. In his eyes, I was to be his daughter marrying his son. Hence, I accepted that notion. However, upon my husband's passing, I refrained from disclosing this. I feared Emma would misconstrue it as an attempt to seize the family fortune. I have tasks to attend to. Would you kindly depart? I requested. I informed Emma that any communication should go through our respective legal representatives. I've sought counsel from our company's legal team, I continued. I had security escort Emma out of our company premises. I explicitly barred her from returning. Despite her resistance, she complied when I threatened to involve law enforcement. She made several attempts to contact me thereafter, all of which I ignored, I recounted. Her relentless pursuit of our wealth only resulted in a deluge of complaints to our lawyer. Our company's financial standing was robust, which baffled Emma. She argued that bankruptcy should yield assets to divide. However, the company had transitioned to a new owner before Benjamin's demise, rendering it beyond his possession. Consequently, Emma had no claim. The family's properties had already been allocated in the divorce prior to Benjamin's death. Our lawyer patiently explained Emma's lack of entitlement. Frustrated, our lawyer divulged Emma's persistent attempts. Misguided in her belief of inheriting, Emma had amassed debt on her credit card, now struggling to repay it. She worked multiple jobs from dawn till dusk to meet her financial obligations. Yet her fiscal woes were not my concern, I emphasized. Emma was a decade younger than Benjamin, marrying him at 25 and now at 55. Their nearly 30-year marriage entitled her to survivor benefits from Benjamin's Social Security contributions, even after their divorce. However, eligibility hinged on her turning 60, still 5 years away. Additionally, she needed to file for a pension division within 2 years of their divorce. I doubted Emma's awareness of these stipulations, nor did I feel inclined to enlighten her. Her welfare was neither my concern nor my responsibility, I stated firmly. And so, I reside in the home once shared with my mother, Benjamin, and my husband. Days passed tranquilly. Memories of my husband and Benjamin evoke both smiles and tears. Yet, recalling their warmth spurs me to embrace each day with a smile, I concluded.